Today we're going to talk all about gym junkies, Peloton junkies, and workout aholics. Hey guys, welcome back to Curls on Demand. I am Curtis91, and if this is your first time, then welcome to the family. It's great to see you again. And I hope you came here to get some good old information about your hair regimen. So today we are going to cover the active natural hair regimen. My last video was on the lazy natural hair regimen, and if you want to see that, then you can go ahead in the description and somewhere up here I will put that video. But today we're going to talk all about the gym junkies, Peloton junkies, and workout aholics. So for all you gymaholics, this one is for you. All right. So basically, the skeleton of a good hair regimen will look something like: you need to shampoo this often, you need to deep condition this often, you need to moisturize this often, and you need to make sure you're trimming your ends. That's usually the skeleton for most hair regimens. Now, the active natural regimen will look almost like the lazy hair natural regimen, but it will be slightly different. It will have the same skeleton, but be slightly different because people who are active sweat more. And if you sweat more, then the requirements for shampooing and how often you do it is going to change. So let's get into this regimen. As you know, and as I said in the other video, the regimen will be down. I put a link for my active natural regimen down below, so you can always have access to that when you need it or when you want it. But let's just start talking about this. So, as I said, as an active natural, you sweat more than the lazy natural or any other type of natural, really. So, if you're very active and you work out a lot and you work out often, your hair regimen will obviously look a little bit different. So, the first part of your regimen, like every other regimen, is to shampoo your hair. But for an active natural, you probably need to shampoo your hair more often. And I would recommend every week. Same as the lazy natural, but the lazy natural may be able to go 2 weeks or a month without shampooing, whereas a more active natural may not be able to do that because you sweat a lot. And if you're sweating a lot, sweating and sweating staying for long periods of time equals stank hair. Stank. Did you hear me? Stank hair. And you're not trying to have your hair smell. You're not trying to be around your friends or your boo thing. And then your hair up here smelling. Okay, so really shampooing your hair, cleansing your hair once a week is probably a very good habit to have. So the next step for you is to co-wash after every workout or when needed. Why I say this? Why I say after every workout? First of all, co-washing means conditioner wash, right? Now, you don't want to shampoo your hair after every workout. That is no, especially if your hair is curly. Don't do it, sis. Do not do it. Your hair will be tried. Your hair will be do not do it. Please do not do it. Instead of washing your hair after every workout, what you should do is co-wash or conditioner wash your hair after every workout. Now, if that's too often for you, you can do it every other workout or when you think it's needed, because you don't want sweat to stay on your hair or in your scalp because it will stink. Now we got that out the way. So what a co-wash will do is it will lightly take off some of the oils and the sweat and dirt on your hair, but it will not completely take out all the oils and strip your hair like a shampoo would. And so if you do that in between your shampoo wash every week or after your workout, what's happening is you will not have that stench in your hair. But even though it will not completely strip your hair, you do, and you probably will, need to re-moisturize lightly. And so that's what the next step is. So the next step is to re-moisturize your hair after every cold wash. And I'm being specific about saying re-moisturize your hair after every cold wash because when you use, I'm being specific about moisturizing your hair after a cold wash because even though your hair will not be completely stripped of its oils and moisture, you probably need to do just a tiny little bit of re-moisturizing to make sure that your hair is not dry the next day. Okay, so you can go ahead and re-moisturize with a leave-in, some oils, and you should be good on the moisture for your hair at that point in time. And of course, you can use the LCO or the LLC method, which I talked about in the first video. If you want to know exactly what I mean and you've never heard of that term before, then you want to go to the first video and you can hear that. Or I will be doing an LCO, LOC specific tutorial, and I'll put that down below once I've done it. Okay, so moving on to the next step. The next step is to deep condition with heat every week. Now, I don't know about you. You don't have to use heat if you don't want to. But I use heat for my deep conditioning. Okay. That's up to you. I can probably do a deep conditioning video if that's something you want to see. I have a bunch of like deep conditioning routine videos, and I do practically the same thing every single time I deep condition. So you can check those out if you want. But after you wash every week, make sure you're deep conditioning your hair. And as I said in the last video, deep condition is going to look different probably every single time. Why? Because your hair has different needs at different point in times. Your hair might need moisture one time. Like my hair needs moisture because I've had this in for a week and I need to wash it today. But sometimes your hair might need moisture one time, but then another time it might need protein because it's breaking at the ends and it's brittle. Like, so knowing what your hair needs sometimes is a good thing. And so your deep conditioning will look different from week to week. Sometimes it won't. Sometimes for 3 weeks straight, you will just be using a moisturizing deep conditioning. And then on the 4th week, you might use a light protein one. And then in 8 weeks, you might use a more intense protein treatment. So that looks different every single time, but make sure that every week when you're washing your hair, you're also deep conditioning. That's it. Point blank. Simple. Now the next step is to reduce hair manipulation by wearing buns or hairstyles that will tuck your ends in. Now, the reason why I'm not specifically saying to wear protective hairstyles here, like I did in the first video, is because it's probably not a good idea to wear protective hairstyles consistently if you're very active with like workouts and going to the gym. Now don't jump on my back. Like don't hurt me. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that you can't do protective hairstyles. I'm saying constantly do protective hairstyle after protective hairstyle while going to the gym would require a little more work. It would require a little more work from you than a lazy natural, only because you're being more active. And think about it. Just think about it. Imagine getting your hair done, getting you some butt length braids, and then going to the gym 3 to 4 times a week. That sweat is gonna be sitting on there for a long time if you're wearing that protective hairstyles for a month and you're not gonna wash your hair, you're not gonna wash your scalp. What do you think gonna happen? You're gonna be sitting around stinking up the place. Don't do it. So if you do decide that you want to do protective hairstyles, it's just gonna take a little more work. And then I have the fifth part of this series. I'm gonna touch on protective hairstyles, the regimen for people who wear protective hairstyles. So that might be a good one to watch so that you know how to mix the two. So you would look at the active one and you'd look at the wig and protective hairstyle one and combine them and make a good regimen for yourself. But right now, let's get back to this. So going ahead on like wearing buns and these low maintenance hairstyle, even like wearing like jumbo like braids or twist with like mini twist and stuff might not be a bad idea either, because what's that gonna do, it's gonna keep your hands out of your hair. It's gonna, as I said, reduce manipulation of your hair, and it'll be easy to wash your hair or co-wash your hair. When your hair's in a bun, you can take it down and stuff like that, compared to if it was in like a protective hairstyle with like extensions and stuff. So having a low maintenance hairstyle will allow you to retain length, because your hair wouldn't be breaking, you wouldn't be in your hair as often, and your hair wouldn't be breaking as often, and your ends will be tucked in so they will stay moisturized longer and they wouldn't break as much as if you were always in your hair or manipulating your hair. So if you are an active natural, I would actually recommend staying and sticking with more stretch hairstyles and buns and stuff like that, keeping your hair tucked in, than I would with a protective hairstyle. And that's just my tip. Do with it what you may. And please don't come for me, because that's just my tip. Okay? All right. The next step is to trim. And I think I will say that throughout all the regimens: trim your ends. Trim your ends. Don't be out here with these jaggedy ends, sis. Trim your ends. And as I said, a good place to start is trimming your ends every 6 months and then working your way to trimming it a little more often. And if you want to know like when should I trim your ends, a very good sign of when you need to trim your ends is if your hair is breaking from the ends and then your ends are brittle. And I have a video all on that. So if you did want to see that video about when to trim your ends, how to trim your ends, different ways to trim your ends at home, I'll link that video down below. But make sure that you're trimming your ends in some way, form, or capacity. Okay? Good. All right. So that's it for the active natural hair regimen. I will see you in the next one, which I think will be, oh Lord Jesus, which I think might be the curly girl method. If I lied, I lied. But it's either the curly girl method or it's the experimental natural. And you can go ahead and check that out. But I'll see you next week for the next video. So, bye guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and see you in the next one.